It is a busy day inside the Rogue tent here at the Alliant Energy Center in Madison, Wisconsin, as our coverage of the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games continues here on the Rogue Iron Game. Thanks for sticking with us, everybody. I'm Sean Woodland with Andy Sakamoto and Dan Bailey. Been a busy day so far. We've seen the first event for the teams and now the first event for the individuals. How did that thing play out in relation to what you expected to see happen?
I think it kind of played out in relation to what I expected. It played out very much how I expected it to see. I didn't have Hogberg pegged for it, but I should have. Shame on me, because I think that was a really good event for him.
I also think on the women's side, similar thing. Some of the names that we picked at the top were supposed to be there. I didn't expect it to be so close at the finish.
Right.
With a longer race like this, you would expect some distance between competitors. And that lead that Chewy had
to start with, too.
Oh, right. Well, yeah. And then Holte and Sam Briggs kind of ate into that a little bit, and then Rolfe as well, obviously.
We don't have the overall standings yet. They are still updating, but we do know that Lukas Hogberg did himself a tremendous favor by picking up 100 points there.
Yeah, it was a huge favor that he did himself, because he came into this event in 24th place. So not necessarily in fear of the next cut, but the cut coming after that, definitely in a little bit of danger. He was 39th in event 1. He did a little bit better in event 2 by getting 18th place, but Lukas Hogberg, a veteran games athlete, did exactly what he needed to do. He knew what he needed to do, an event win, and that's what he got. Really impressive. He had that little jockey with Josh right in the very beginning, but then once he gained that lead, I believe it was on the 3rd lap, he just increased it, much like we saw JST Compete do in their event. And the lead grew, and he had an easy win.
It's funny that we overlooked Lukas Hogberg last year.
Yep. He
did really well in the Ruck event at the Rogue Invitational, and then we overlook him again here, and here he is winning the event. Chandler Smith, meanwhile, kind of continues his up and down competition. He was 2nd, then he's down in 18th overall. He finishes 4th overall in this event, now looking to punch his way back into the top 10, and once again showing that, yeah, he belongs amongst these athletes.
Absolutely, and I think this is something where when the event came out, he probably had a pretty big grin across his face. Definitely something that he's familiar with being in the Army. They ruck a ton. This isn't something that was going to surprise him or be super uncomfortable. Again, stumbled in event 2 from yesterday, took him down the leaderboard we mentioned, was down in 18th. This 4th place finish going to bring him right back in to the running, being in one of those top 5 athletes, proving that he actually believes that he belongs here and he has the talent, has the capability to compete with the big dogs. So I'm excited to see kind of what's left in the day here for him and how he kind of handles that, again, competing against a very elite field of male competitors.
Yeah, and like you mentioned with Lukas Hogberg, it's not this cut that's kind of worrying him, it's the next one, and the more work that they can do to be. The only safe place is inside the top 10. Meanwhile, on the women's side of things, it was much closer than we saw with the men. Great race at the finish, as Tia Toomey had the lead for most of that race, but then it was Kristin Holte, Sam Briggs, and Emily Rolfe cutting into it. Emily Rolfe wins in a sprint to the end. That was a huge result for her.
Huge result, and yeah, same thing. I think it was like Hogberg. She was sitting in about 24th place or somewhere around there going into this event. We haven't seen much from Emily Rolfe. She qualified through the Granite Games. She's out of Canada. And get this, she's a former national gymnast. So I wouldn't have pegged her on the Ruck run. But she played a great race. She stayed within striking distance of Toomey. And then I love that, like we were talking about, that final lap, 4 girls went out. 4 girls stayed together that entire lap, and then right at the very end, Emily Rolfe put on the heat. Dan and I were talking about, did she put on the gas a little too early? Because we know what that feels like. Obviously she didn't. That was an easy win for Emily Rolfe.
And look, once again, coming into this event, we did not mention Kristin Holte once. Kristin Holte finishes in 3rd place. There's got to be some sort of official Kristin Holte apology. Like you are the official Kristin Holte overlooked athlete. Because at some point, I'm going to remember to talk about her, because all she does is finish inside the top 10 at the CrossFit Games. And if she came in the top 10 in here, she's absolutely going to stay there. So still a great performance for Kristin Holte. Really shocking, though, to see Annie Thorstadter out there. I mean, it is hot. You put that ruck on, you add that weight, and she certainly struggled with it.
Yeah, it was very similar to what we saw happen to her in 2015. Definitely slowed down when we had to do Murph on her 2nd mile. You saw her have to stop, put her hands on her knees, those kind of things. You can see at this point she was still running, but definitely you could tell something was wrong, either within her gait, within just being too tired, somehow not prepared for the event. You can see here slowing down. Again, this is very close to the finish line. She's just unable to keep going. It's one of those scenarios where your body just starts to slow down, it starts to shut down. Your head may want to keep going, the body's saying no. You can see when she came into the stadium though, hands up in the air, big smile on her face like we're always used to seeing with Annie. She has this uncanny ability to remain positive no matter what circumstances are around her. So it'll be interesting to see how she kind of rebounds from this event, if there's anything that lingers for the rest of the day that happened here.
I'm definitely a little less worried than I was in 2015.
Sure. Yeah, 2015, I mean, that was the beginning of the end for her in that competition. You know, she was never able to bounce back from that performance. We do have updated standings for the team competition. Let's get you caught up on what has gone on there. After 4 events, it still is Mayhem Freedom that is your overall leader. So we don't have the leaderboard, but we're going to just let you know what's going on. Mayhem Freedom is your overall leaderboard. Overall leader. CrossFit Krypton is 84 points back. They sit in 2nd place still, so that gap has widened. It used to be 63, now it's 84, but it's Invictus. They are now in 3rd place, just 98 points out of 1st place. Still a lot of ground to make up, but Chase Ingram caught up with them after event number 4.
Hey guys, I'm here with Invictus X with a 2nd place finish in the run event. We didn't think we'd see something like that based off the personnel, but it looked to me teamwork at its finest, that 2 of you were carrying more weight than everybody else were.
It's like my good friend Forrest Gump said, I just felt like running. It's a team sport. You know, if somebody's struggling, Sam was cramping up a little bit, so I got no problem carrying a little extra load because he carries the load on the heavyweights. So, you know, I got to do my part.
Chrissy, you're one of the best runners in the games, team individual. How much weight was in that pack by the end of the event?
I have no idea. 10 and 3 7s and then the 15, so whatever that is.
It looked like if you had a 5th teammate, it was stuffed in your backpack on that run. 2nd place, Team Invictus X. Guys, congratulations. Good luck the rest of the weekend.
Thank you, Chase, and thank you, Invictus, as they sit now in 3rd place. The 5th event has been announced, and this is the wonderful part about not knowing anything. I do not know what we are about to see.
Genuine reaction.
Yes, this is going to be a genuine reaction to team event number 5. Let's throw it up on the screen. So here we go for time. Wow. Strongman sphere. Okay, this is a lot like the event that we saw a couple years ago here. So we have a 132-foot handstand walk. The worm is back, a big bob march, and then a snail push in pairs. So a bunch of pretty interesting implements coming back out. We've already seen 2 of them. We have not seen a snail. The time cap, 16 minutes. They're used to the worm, but we saw the big bob really be a difference earlier on. Again, this is the first time we're seeing this. What jumped out to you when you looked at this event?
It looks like right now that there's a good combination of teamwork as well as individual skill with that handstand walk. You're only going to be able to go, I'm assuming, as fast as your slowest person or your weakest person. Look for the people who did well on the big bob to do well on the snail push. Again, it's a little bit of a different implement, right? You can't drive that thing with your neck. Now your arms are involved. You're kind of rolling something down the field. I would look at, CrossFit Mayhem, some of the teams that are better with the worm to kind of succeed in those areas. And then really that handstand walk looks to be maybe the bottleneck of the event.
Yeah, okay. Well, we're going to step aside for just a second here and take a quick break and sort of wrap our head around Team Event 5 so we can come back and get you ready for that. But stay with us here on the Rogue Iron Game. We'll have a lot more from the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games coming up in a little bit.